What's up, guys? Your boy, 20K13. Gonna talk about 9 reasons John Cena will win Seth Rollins WWE title at SummerSlam. And this comes from WhatCulture.com. One of the most important parts of this week's Raw was the segment with Seth Rollins and John Cena. It established what is going to be one of WWE's biggest feuds this summer, as Cena interrupted Rollins' promo and questioned his validity as a champion. The two men teased a brawl before the cowardly Rollins stormed out of the ring and left. The match wasn't officially announced for SummerSlam, but with 5 weeks to go, this was the opening chapter. The story will play out over the next month, and it may even end up being both Cena's U.S. title on the line and Rollins' WWE title on the line at SummerSlam. Another scenario to further the feud would be Rollins costing Cena the U.S. title in the Invitational next week. That would get the belt off Cena and create extra fuel for his conflict with the WWE champion. Whatever angle WWE executes, they safe in the knowledge that this is going to be a blockbuster rivalry. It will be the co-main event to the Undertaker and Lesnar show closer. But in terms of wrestling, it will probably be the match of the night. As for the result, Cena looked primed to be the WWE champion once again, with several factors suggesting that SummerSlam will mark his 16th WWE World title. Number 9. John Cena hasn't been WWE champion in over a year. At SummerSlam 2015, it will be more than a year since John Cena last held WWE main belt. He lost his 15th title to Brock Lesnar at last year's SummerSlam on August 17th. Over a year and a bit later, at this year's event on August 23rd, Cena will surely be restored to his most natural position in the company. Although many fans loathe the idea of Cena as champion and believe change needs to occur, the fact is that business has been on a slide. That means WWE are likely to go back to what has worked in the past, which is a main event position John Cena. You also have to consider the history of major franchise players in pro wrestling. How many times did Hulk Hogan or Steve Austin go without a world title for over a year in their career prime? Cena is no different. He wants the glory. He wants the record book. He wants the increased financial opportunity. Number 8. Sweet 16. It is significant that Cena's next title win will tie him with WWE record for most title runs for one person. Cena will be joining Ric Flair on 16 championship achievements. That's going to be a very big deal, and it will be something that the company wants to make a major celebration out of. With that in mind, the occasion needs to be on a major show. You can't just do a moment in time like that on a beach show, like a Night of Champions. It needs to be done on a grand stage when lots of fans are watching. SummerSlam is that occasion. Cena can beat Rollins and have the special ticker tape celebration, which is only reserved for major moments at big events. Number 7. Kevin Owens was jobbed to Cena for a reason. Booking Kevin Owens to tap out to John Cena at Battleground was done for a reason. It was to set up Cena's throne for what is coming next, which is a WWE World Championship victory. If he wasn't about to become champion, surely WWE would have had Owens going over at Battleground. He was a hot young star, a wrestler who looked to be going places. Sacrificing his momentum was a painful choice for WWE, but they simply had to do it. Otherwise, Cena will be going into his Rollins feud cold. Off the back of beating Owens, Cena is now positioned to naturally progress back up to the championship level. He will be more accepted as champion with the scalp of Owens and Rollins to his name. Number 6. Cena can carry the fall season. September through December is always a dead season for the WWE. It is just a natural part of WWE yearly cycle. With fans skipping a few months until things get hot again in January, with that in mind, WWE will take measures to try and get the fall season over as much as possible. They want to retain the viewership as much as they can. A tried and tested guy like John Cena is the man for that job. Putting the belt on him at SummerSlam and having him defend it through to December will ensure that the casual audience is maintained to a greater degree than a continuing Rollins reign. The fact is that 6 months is a long time in wrestling. Fans get bored of long reigns and tune out. A change will keep the fodder fresh in a season where apathy will be on the rise. Number 5. Seth Rollins is out of main event caliber opponent. Seth Rollins had done a decent job as champion, at least in the creative sense, but he got the problem right now of being out of challenger. He had long feud with Randy Orton and Dean Ambrose before seeing off the challenge of Lesnar at Battleground. Along the way, he also had television bout with Roman Reigns, who is ultimately being saved to be pushed for the title again at WrestleMania. They only leave one main event caliber challenger, John Cena. After that feud is done, if Rollins were to retain, who could he really work with this fall? There's not many people. Cena, on the other hand, will be a fresh champion and has several matchups that could be booked. Opponents like Sheamus and Bray Wyatt would make sense. They could even do another Owens-Cena match, seeing as that feud was so hot. Number 4. Rollins is already set up for a mid-card feud with Kane. The groundwork for Rollins' post-championship run is already well established. His feud with Kane has simmered for months and he's now openly lambasting his former authority colleagues. The narrative has Kane currently out with an injury, but on his return he expected to finally hold Rollins to account. The timing of that would be perfect, as Rollins can move into the Kane feud and get his heat back with victory over the Big Red Machine. It is a feud that really doesn't need the WWE title involved, as Kane is strictly a mid-card level worker. He's not about championship at this stage in his career. As such, Rollins had to lose at SummerSlam in order to finally put the long-anticipated Kane feud to work. Number 3. Declining TV ratings. The performance of Raw in the past few months has been abysmal. That's why the company brought The Undertaker back, as you go to what proven when in need of results. Just like the utilization of Taker, the company will also look to utilize Cena back in his traditional role. He's a proven guy when it comes to spiking ratings. If Cena is in the opening, mid, and closing segment, viewers will stick around through the show. He got a star quality that Seth Rollins lacked in that respect. By putting the WWE title back on Cena at SummerSlam, they are setting him up to main event Raw for the next few months. The hope is that the audience will stick around through the show to see the franchise star. Unfortunately for Rollins, viewership had died a death on his watch. He isn't being blamed for the rating collapse. But he is going to be a victim of it. WWE will move the belt off of him and on to the proven draw in John Cena. Number 2. Network subscription. The numbers aren't officially out yet, but Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer is expecting that WWE Network numbers will have dropped in the last few months. Worryingly, they may have dropped substantially from the 1.3 million subscribers who were on board for WrestleMania. Bringing The Undertaker back is a telltale sign that all isn't well with the network number. They could conceivably be as low as 700,000 right now, when they need to be at least 1 million. Putting the title on Cena and having him main event the remainder of this year's special is one solution. He's a big star and generates more interest than Seth Rollins. This is a guy who set the WWE pay-per-view box office record of 1.3 million buys just 3 years ago. And number 1, rematch value. One of the big reasons for having Cena go over Rollins at SummerSlam is that it instantly set up Cena versus Rollins 2 at Night of Champions. There wouldn't be the same value if Rollins retained at SummerSlam. There needs to be a reason for a second match. Cena being the champion is the role reversal which gives the feud renewed life for another month's worth of storytelling. Cena would, of course, retain at Night of Champions, going on to work with other stars for the remainder of the autumn season. Rollins, meanwhile, will start his feud with Kane, which you expect to conclude by the time of Survivor Series. After that, one rumor is that Rollins will turn babyface. There even talks of him winning the Royal Rumble and going on to fight for the WWE title at WrestleMania 32. So it isn't all doom and gloom for the 29-year-old. His time as champ may be up, but his future is continuing to look bright. Well, that's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.